5. Hay una lucecita que hace así. 5, 4, 3, 2. Este es un video que está en YouTube. Nuevos detectives. Está en inglés, no tiene subtítulos. Ni en inglés ni en español. Pero como yo lo entiendo, lo escribo en el computador, lo imprimo y entonces escribo aquí, lo escribo en inglés, luego lo leo en español. Hay partes donde yo no entendí y vamos a ver, a oír el video. Está aquí y aquí está.
Laying near a lake in Wills Point, Texas, stumbled upon some debris that had washed ashore. Curious as to what he had found, he began poking at the trash. When it flipped over, he saw that it was a human skull wrapped in cloth. Frightened, the boy ran to tell his father. After receiving the 911 call, deputies from the Van Zandt County Sheriff's Office were dispatched to Willow Lake. There, they located the human skull and a pair of blue denim shorts scattered on the ground. Rope had been used to bind the items. Police carefully collected the remains and a few stray red hairs lying nearby. Having found no other clues to the victim's identity, investigators forwarded what little evidence they had recovered to forensic examiners. From the level of decay, examiners determined that the remains had been lying outdoors for at least a year. And evidence of blunt force trauma found on the skull suggested the victim had been murdered. Further analysis led to the conclusion that the victim was a Caucasian female, but little else was learned. Captain Rock Ellis of the Van Zandt County Sheriff's Office was contacted with the autopsy results. It was clear this would be a difficult case to solve.
Forensics is telling me, that the lady is somewhere between 20 and 40 years old. She had red hair. And that's about all we had to go on at that time.
As investigators struggled to identify the victim, dispatchers received a 911 call. More human remains had been found. Because of the decreased water level at Willow Lake, a passerby had stumbled.
¿Por qué no has dicho nada en todo el día?
No sé, me siento un poco cuadrado.
Se te nota.
Cuadrados hasta mezclarlos con tu comida favorita. Nuevos cubos Nor, con su receta mejorada que le dan a tus comidas un delicioso sabor casero.
Después de esta pausa, vamos con esta parte ahora.
Recibes mucho, pero mucho
Stumbled upon a partial skeleton lying in the mud. It was found less than 200 feet away from where the skull had been found. Chicken wire surrounded the remains. The caging had been tied to concrete blocks with electrical wire and rope, likely used to keep the remains submerged in the lake. And there was something else. It appeared the ropes had been tied with the same type of knots as those found with the skull. Forensic analysis later confirmed that these remains were at one time attached to the skull found a week earlier. Though the findings had provided investigators with additional evidence of murder, the identity of this victim and her killer remained a mystery. Police in Van Zandt County, Texas, struggled to identify female skeletal remains found scattered along the shores of Willow Lake. As police began canvassing the nearby neighborhood, they made a startling discovery in one of the yards. Lying next to a roll of chicken wire, police noticed some ropes. They were the same type and tied with the same knots as those found with the skeletal remains.
The same knots were tied on all three places. A clove hitch is not unique, a bowline is not unique, but when you see those knots tied with the same type of material in three different places, it focuses in on the same person tying the knots.
Though no one was home, police obtained a warrant and collected the evidence. Now they needed to find out who lived at that residence. A property search revealed.
Bien, entonces vamos a ver qué fue lo que yo entendí. Entonces, tenemos por aquí, ¿sí? A young boy playing near a lake in Willows Point, Texas, stumbled upon some debris that had washed ashore. Curious as to what he had found, he began poking at the trash. When it flipped over, he saw that it was a human skull wrapped in cloth. He saw that it was a human skull wrapped in cloth. Frightened, the boy ran to tell his father. After receiving the 911 call, deputies from the Van Sant County Sheriff's Office were dispatched to Willow Lake. There they located a human skull and a pair of blue denim shorts gathered on the ground. Rope had been used to bind the items. Police carefully collected remains and a few straight red hair lining at the body. Having found the other no clues to the victim's identity, investigators forwarded whatever evidence they had recovered to forensic examiners. From the level of the... Esto no lo entendí. Didn't get anything here. It's a blank here. Examiners determined that the remains had been lying outdoors for at least a year and had evidence of, I didn't get this, okay, forced trauma in the skull suggested the victim had been murdered. Further analysis led to the conclusion that the victim was a Caucasian female, but later out was learned. Captain Adam from the Van Sant County Sheriff's Office was in contact with the autopsy results. It was clear that this would be a difficult case to solve. Forensic results say the lady was between 20 years old. As investigators struggled to identify the victim, dispatchers received a 911 call. More human remains had been found. Because of the decreased level of Willow Lake, a passerby has stumbled upon, I didn't get this word, skeleton lying in the mud. It was found less than 200 feet away from the skull, had been found. Chicken wire surrounded the remains. Entonces, esta primera parte, ya yo hice la traducción en mi primera parte, vamos con la segunda parte. More human remains had been found because of the, didn't get this word, level at Willow Lake. A passerby stumbled across a skeleton lying in the mud. It was found about 200 meters away from which the skeleton had been found. Chicken wire surrounded the remains. The caging that had been tied with electrical wire and rope to keep the remains submerged in the lake. But there was something else. It appeared the rope had been tied with the same type of knot of those found with the skull. Forensic analysis later confirmed that these remains were one time attached to the skull found a week earlier. Though the findings had provided investigators with additional evidence of murder, the identity of this person and his killer remained a mystery. The investigator had, I didn't get this word here, clues to the woman found at the lake. They believed they had a suspect of the murder. Less than 2 months later, the elusive suspect, Ronald Holloway, was finally located in the New Bay County and, I didn't get this word, for questioning. He admitted he had tied the knots in the rope found, nowhere here, a blank here, but he denied any knowledge of the murder. Detectives felt that he was lying. Okay, let me pick up the last part. Though the case was circumstantial, they decided that they had put Ronald Holloway under arrest, suspicious of murder. But with Holloway arrest, investigators found a new challenge. Because of the Texas law, there was only a short period of time on which they formally charged the suspect with murder. Sergeant Steve Black of the Texas Rangers was asked to assist in the investigation. In Texas, at that time, we had it, I didn't get this word. If you didn't bring your defendant to trial during that time, you were in serious trouble because, okay, having only 60 days, you only had 60 days to make the case. They gathered forensic, having only 60 days to make that case, they gathered forensic Gavin Taylor for help. With only a score to work with, she combined science with art in order to accurately reconstruct the picture with fine detail to make each space unique. Traducción. Okay. Entonces, se encontraron más restos humanos, esta es la segunda parte, ¿sí? Debido al nivel, pues, del agua en el lago Widow, una persona que pasaba tropezó con un esqueleto que estaba tendido allí en el pantano. Este esqueleto se encontró como a 200 metros, ¿verdad? De donde se encontró el primer esqueleto, ¿verdad? Y cerca, malla, la que utiliza para los gallineros, envolvían estos restos. Entonces todo esto había sido atado con cable eléctrico y con sogas para mantener los restos sumergidos dentro del lago. Pero había algo más. Parece que la soga había sido atada con el mismo tipo de nudo, ¿sí?, que se habían encontrado en el otro esqueleto. El análisis forense más tarde confirmó que estos restos estaban relacionados con el primer esqueleto ya una semana antes, aunque estos descubrimientos, investigaciones le dieron a los investigadores, ¿sí?, más evidencia del asesinato. La identidad de esta persona y su asesino era un misterio. Entonces, los investigadores no entendí nada aquí, pistas, ¿sí?, sobre la mujer encontrada en el lago. Pensaban que el sospechoso o el asesino del asesinato, y pensaban que lo habían identificado. Entonces luego, menos de 2 meses después, este sospechoso que estaba muy callado, llamado Ronald Holloway, finalmente fue localizado en el condado de New Bay y pues fue detenido para un interrogatorio. Él admitió que él había atado unos nudos en la soga encontrada, pero negó tener un conocimiento sobre el asesinato. Los detectives les parecía que el hombre estaba mintiendo. Y aunque el caso era circunstancial, ellos decidieron que debían poner a Ronald Holloway, detenerlo, ¿verdad? A ponerlo bajo arresto sospechoso de un asesinato. Pero con el arresto de Holloway, los investigadores se dieron cuenta de que tenían un nuevo reto, porque debido a las leyes en Texas, se contaban con un periodo de tiempo muy corto en el que ellos formalmente tenían que acusar al sospechoso de asesinato. Entonces el sargento Steve Black no lo podían tener mucho tiempo, tenían que soltarlo. Sargento Steve Black de los montañeros de Texas le pidieron que ayudara en la investigación. En Texas, en ese tiempo, no podías detener a la persona detenida por mucho tiempo. Si no llevabas al acusado a un juicio durante ese tiempo, tú sabes, estaban en serios problemas. Tenían unos 60 días para que tú el caso lo presentara ante el juez y con toda la evidencia forense recogida. Entonces le pidieron ayuda a Garon Taylor, una señora especialista, con solo el esqueleto, la cabeza, para que ella trabajara con esto. Entonces ella combinó ciencia con arte y con mucha precisión reconstruyó, hizo un dibujo, ¿sí? Con todos los detalles finos, y todos los espacios ella los rellenó y finalmente tenían entonces una cara.